Welcome to the bold analysis. There is a question that Martha, you asked me sometime, I think that was last Sunday. And this is what you asked. Kevin, do you think Ruto can work with Gachagua again? Do you think the impeachment can be overturned? And do you think Gachagua can work with Uhuru Kenyatta? 3 questions. 1, do you think Ruto can work with Gachagua again? Can impeachment be overturned? And can Rigathi work with Gachagua? Yeah, that was interesting. He sent me that message when I was in Kisumu. I think that was last weekend. In this podcast, I'm going to answer the last question. But I have an overall answer to that question is, in politics, never say never. In politics, everything is possible. If the interest converges, the people you are seeing are just, crowd manipulation tools. They're just mass manipulation tools, machineries, mass manipulation machineries. Those are not leaders. Politicians are just mass manipulation machineries. A few are leaders. So, can impeachment be overturned? Yes. And if you ask me, big percentage it can be overturned if it serves some interest. But 2, can they work together? Yes. But of course, I want to explain more about this. I remember the same mother you once asked me about the profile of those who have been meeting Wamunyoro. I want to tell you something that I want you to, that I think you've heard in the political arena. There is a narrative, and I've heard Kafogo talking about it, and you talk about state bloggers. They have sustained a narrative telling the people that the Mount Kenya leaders following Gachagua are rudderless, since Gachagua cannot take them anywhere. Gachagua was impeached, and so Gachagua cannot take them anywhere. This narrative has been said for long. And whenever Gachagua posts posts something on social media about his meetings with leaders, you look at the comment section, you will find some dismissal comments from some specific people dismissing it. Today, there is a meeting that is politically interesting, and this is the meeting with Cecil Kariuki. Cecil Kariuki served as a cabinet secretary under Uhuru Kenyatta. And after this meeting, this is what Rigathi shared. Early this evening, I met with Cecily Kariuki, a long-serving cabinet minister and a former PS in President Uhuru Kenyatta's government. He didn't say former regime, he said President Uhuru Kenyatta's government. We had an engaging discussion on various issues affecting our nation, and I got an opportunity to tap into her vast experience on governance issues. Cecily, who is also a prominent leader from Nyandarua County, also shared with me her thoughts on matters pertaining to this great county of Nyandarua that I consider my second home. Cecily was accompanied by her husband Kariuki Chege and a few friends. She was also kind enough to gift me with some memos breaking the illusions. The conversations continue. This is what Rigathi Gachagua shared from this video. It looks a hearty conversation, and if you look at the photos they shared, there is also another photo with Rigathi with Cecily Kariuki. Let me tell you something. If there is a tool in politics that is used, this is the tool of perception. Look at this photo here. Cecily handing over a book, Breaking the Illusions. You have a book. This is a photo that you want to share. Test waters, they know what's going on happening there. Cecily Karaoke is a clear, the meeting between him and Rigathi, between her and Rigathi, visiting Rigathi, is a clear testament that much as there is a sustained attack on Rigathi Gachagua, there is an element of acceptance he's getting. And I want to say this. This is my personal opinion. Rigathi served in Ruto administration for 2 years. And I think he has been around Ruto for 4 years, being that they campaigned for 2 years. He joined around 2020, around 2019 there. Around 2020 there. And when he came out after he was impeached, he's been issuing snippets of what's happening in Ruto administration. And the level of believability is high. These are not my words. Adam Solo works as President Ruto's advisor. I want us to listen to this clip by Adam Solo.
The script that Rigathi Gachagua is playing out, he is a truthful man. Because he's a truthful man, we are likely to believe everything he says. Because the opposite is on the other side. That they do not keep their promises, they do not tell the truth. So we have a trust deficit that the Honorable Gachagua is playing up or exploiting. Because if the people in power are not trusted, or if somebody who was close to power was pushed out of the door, the way Gachagua was pushed out of the door, you are likely to hear his story or to agree with his story more than you are going to agree with the story that is being told elsewhere. But let's also put this in a context. Was he asked to resign? Was he offered any incentives to resign? Could he have been offered any incentive to resign? Absolutely yes. Because there was an option. How do we avoid impeachment? He says that whoever asked him to do that, he said no to it. And everybody knows that he went through, he was dragged through the dungeon or the impeachment and so on. Yeah. So here we are, we have to face two things. One, a former deputy president out there now giving us snippets and giving us some inside, soap opera type of stories from the executive. And that's good for us, because then it gives us some order to understand that perhaps the reason why things are where they are is because there is an explanation to it. Secondly, there is a way in which we are saying that we have perpetually rendered this country into a campaign mode. The president is busy campaigning. He has been campaigning. In fact, I don't think he knows anything else other than campaigning. Because remember, when he was deputy president, he was campaigning to be president. And when he finished campaigning to be president, he's still campaigning to be second term. So he's campaigning throughout. What does that mean? It means we have little time to settle down, to achieve anything, to even deliver on our promises and so on. Because when you're making promises upon promises, all you're doing is postponing the opportunity to say, we might do nothing this time, but we are focusing on roads. We'll get a few kilometers done. We may do nothing else again, we'll focus, say, on water and so on and get a few things done. I have no problem if you go to Western and you actually come up with a blueprint for agriculture and you give us the additional sums that we need to have in order for us to realize that, I have no problem. But if you go there with bonus, if you go there with a one-off, injection of cash, yes, it's important. 150 million is important. But against how many people? And what are you really building around? What economy are you really building around here?
Make believe optics. Optics, we have brought you here electricity. We are now launching a market here in Luanda that we are launching a transformer here. We are laying a foundation stone somewhere in Huisero. And we are going to especially interrogate the abiding interest in Huisero. I think he's already scared of Umoja Summit Party because it has a very strong presence.
All right.
In
Now
I see what he's doing.
Let him blow the national platform.
Let me just come to this.
Okay.
Don't panic. Take it easy. Don't panic. President William Ruto had a blueprint for Western Kenya. And to that extent, Rigathi is right. He had a blueprint that spoke of 3 factories, brand new, that spoke of 1,000 kilometers of bitumen roads, that spoke of giant water projects and the like that he was going to engage in. If he's coming to Western at this point to talk about development, he should be coming with that blueprint as his marking scheme, and saying that the promises that I made, I have gone this far. If he's not able to do that, he should still explain to the people why it's been impossible to deal with the 1,000 kilometers of bitumen and what he has done, because so far not an inch of that 1,000 kilometers has been done.
So this is what I'm saying. There is an element of believability. Last week, Rigathi had a meeting with an interview in Mulembe stations, and in that Mulembe stations, that radio station, at the end of it, he gave out some documents. The documents about a power sharing deal between Western. Between Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, and President Ruto, and spoke about what was agreed. Now, after that, I did not see a rebuttal from the State House team. Not even Musalia team rebutted it. And in fact, there is a conversation that he won there, that much as I'm being targeted, but there was an agreement between Ruto and some people from the Western side. And then he also made another statement and said that Western Kenya must unite so that when they go to the negotiation table, they don't go through Raila Odinga. Themselves, they must be represented. Now, in terms of believability of Rigathi Gachagua, that is why he's getting traction. And this sustained attack of dismissing, politics, I wonder, some people want to run a sanity card that, you need to dismiss Rigathi because he's corrupt and he's tribal and all that. But then, is President Ruto not tribal? Is President Ruto not? When you talk about tribalism, no politician can edge the other. Be it Raila Odinga, be it Uhuru Kenyatta, be it William Ruto, be it Rigathi Gachagua. When you talk about tribalism, you cannot use that to edge Ruto against Rigathi. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. The president is in Northeastern. People, and president is in Western first. An MP picks a microphone standing 2 meters in front of the president and says, we want to isolate region X, and the president doesn't come out to rebuttal it. And the following week, he's in the northeastern part of the country, and he says, I am building for you roads because, or rather we are putting money in a vaccination because in some areas we've been giving them this, and this. Politics of us versus them. I choose not to board. So attack Rigathi with anything. But Ruto cannot edge Rigathi. Ruto cannot be better than Rigathi based on tribalism. Hiyo haiko. Now, Cecil Karaoke meeting Rigathi Gachagua shows you this discussion of Rigathi working together with Uhuru Kenyatta is possible, and it is a big reality. And I want to tell you why it's possible. If you look at Eugene Wamalwa, do you think Eugene Wamalwa is an enemy to Uhuru Kenyatta? No. No, he's not. He is not. Eugene Wamalwa, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, George Natembea, and Matian'gi, they all attended, there was an event in Karen. And Onyonka announced they are with Matian'gi for presidency. So if the interest can converge around Matian'gi presidency, then Uhuru Kenyatta can work with Rigathi Gachagua. And you should not say it's impossible. And I want to tell you why. What will be that? And that is what I want to look at. What will be the prospect of that working together? What will be the prospect of Uhuru Rigathi master plan? Can it uproot William Ruto? Can they win against William Ruto? This is it. When Mount Kenya decides to support another candidate for president, and that candidate doesn't come from Mount Kenya, it would actually deflate the tribalism card. There is something, and I saw a tweet by Ahmed Nasser saying that some elders from Kikuyu should meet some elders from Northeastern, so that they say that Northeastern side are willing to be ruled and something. Now, there is some imaginary propaganda that is being created of Kikuyu fighting Somali. Let me tell you, I want to say and I want to remind, people of this country don't stay in some tribal caves. There is no cave where just people. No. In what places, people are mixed. Even in the residential areas, people are mixed. Everywhere. You'll find a Kikuyu, you'll find a Luo. So this politics is not there. Now, if, and Rigathi keeps on saying, Mount Kenya voted for William Ruto. William Ruto is from Kalenjin. If Rigathi endorses a candidate and Uhuru Kenyatta probably endorses Matian'gi, would you find that tribalism? That they are ones that still in power? It's a very clear point that has to be seen. Mount Kenya backing a candidate away from central Kenya would actually deflate that. And so that card of tribalism being used against Rigathi Gachagua will not hold any relevance. Then the second issue is this. Ruto is running a divisive acrimony against the Kikuyu community. And I normally refrain from saying it, but of course there is no better word to say it. That is it. Of a 41 versus 1. And you will look at a number of bloggers, and one of the most ironical part of it is the bloggers coming from Mount Kenya are the ones that are being used to do this. They're the ones at the expense of dismissing Rigathi Gachagua. Themselves, they are running isolative politics on their own. Sometimes you need to interrogate your conscience and, okay, what I'm doing, is it really serving the interest that I'm really saying? What am I doing? Even if I'm getting some money at the end of it. So it will be very critical, because then the candidate, as the president want to mobilize people that, vote for me because people from that region don't want me. That is the same story going on that is the same story that state team are planting in Western Kenya. But then there will be a narrative of a unity against Ruto's policies. Now, that is the most critical one. Finance bill, kila mtu alitoka Nairobi lijaa because it was a voice against finance bill. The other issue is this. With Uhuru Kenyatta, it is not magical science to still bring Raila Odinga in the shadow if and when he loses the AUC. If or when he loses the AUC. It's possible. The team I'm seeing, Kalonzo, does not have the caliber of attracting Raila there. And I wish any conversation about attracting Raila in that move, in that team, should not be about pulling Raila there to be the presidential candidate. We'll get back to factory settings. The coalition against Ruto would easily gain traction beyond Mount Kenya if Uhuru and Rigathi are working together. It is, I think Rigathi has been attacked. It will be interesting to see how people want to attack that ticket, that arrangement, it will be very interesting. And I can tell you, in politics, it's always possible. Never say never. Thank you.